Good morning and welcome. And I'm talking with you after another very harsh night back home. As you know, Iran was targeting civilian populated area in Israel, in Beersheba, and we had another few dozens injuries. So it's a very, just to tell you that the whole interview is happening as we still undergoing a massive attack by Iran. To your question, 30 years of warning. It's also a shame that the international community has not taken this warning by us very seriously. What happened in the last year, mainly the last year, I would say in the last few months, is that Israel has detected that Iran is progressing very rapidly towards actually maintaining and holding nuclear bombs. What we do know and we can share is that Iran had or held a mass of what we call a mass that can create 9 nuclear bombs in a very short period. When we say a very short period, it means that from the moment we realized it to the moment actually Iran could have held nuclear bombs, it could be days. So if a little bit about the nuclear program, to enrich to 60%, which is what Iran actually possessed, it takes many years. To go from the 60 to the enrichment level, it's about 90%, it takes days. Iran has held enough materials in 60% enrichment to create 9 nuclear bombs in a very, very, very short amount of time. So this is the first thing that has happened. The second thing is that we realize, or Israel has obviously with intelligence has observed, is that Iran is preparing a very, very big program that will enable her to create around 3,000 ballistic missiles per year. If you calculate it, so right now, let's say they have, I don't know exactly the number, but they have quite a significant quantity. We feel it. Imagine what it is to have a 3,000 ballistic missiles that can reach 2,000 kilometers. There's no country in the world, even Israel, of course, in the size of Israel, and even much, much bigger countries in size that can hold an attack of, let's say, accumulation of 3,000 in a year, let's say a few years. It's impossible. So from Israel's point of view, what has changed is one thing. The threat has become imminent. Imminent, which means to the point that the security of the state of Israel was under an imminent risk. Two things about that. The first one, and I'm not a nuclear specialist, but due to the course of my work, and I read a lot about it, and unfortunately this is a reality, I know a little bit about how a nuclear bomb is constructed. It's a very, very, very difficult and complicated task to do that leaves a lot of what we call marks on the land. So it's very difficult to get to a point of actually having a nuclear bomb without actually having tracks. In order to have a nuclear bomb, there are a lot of stages of enrichment, of converting the uranium into what we call solidated material, fissile material it's called. So this conversion, it takes time. Obviously, you need to weaponize. Even once you have what we call the two hemispheres, the atomic, the nuclear fissile material, you still have to weaponize it. These things take time and, of course, leave mark. With Israeli intelligence, of course, we have capabilities, as you can see in this operation, to track if actually they've had a bomb. Nevertheless, we've been warning for a long time. And as you probably read, the IAEA, the International Atomic Agency, has just come out in the beginning of the month with a declaration for the first time that's saying that Iran is a non-compliance state, which means that basically, and it pertains to what you said, Iran for the last many, many years has ignored or rejected any attempts by the Board of Governance or by inspectors to actually give the information and the materials that were needed to assure the international community that Iran is not marching very fast towards the nuclear bomb. I'm not sitting in the cabinet, so I'm saying it very cautiously, of course. What I can say is that this operation was started after many, many, many months and weeks of gathering intelligence and creating a very ordered target banks. So which means that we know what we're going for, we know what we want to do. If you've seen in the news, it's very evident, but it's very important to stress the attacks that are, of course, being taken into action in Iran are very surgical. So they are, the attacks are very much to the, I would say, really surgical elements of harming the elements of the nuclear program and the ballistic programs. And the definition, if you read the definition, is Israel was under an imminent threat and will do whatever it takes to remove the threat from the table. So that means that we are very focused. We know what the targets are. We know what we want to achieve. And I think we are progressing according to the targets. Removing the regime was not part of the targets that were declared by this operation. Having said that, the Iranian regime is a very disturbing, malign, terroristic regime that is responsible to the direct threat, not only to Israel, to the entire Middle East, to the entire Western countries, to Africa. If you see the way the regime is acting is, of course, through proxies, through creating terror cells here on the soil of this continent as well. So I would say that the regime is definitely is a very destructive to the international community. I think we have taken many actions, not only on the facilities, but if you've seen, even today actually, we have eliminated 9 nuclear researchers and programmers, which means that, or scientists if you want to call it, which means that the biggest problem, you're really hitting the point, the biggest problem is that when you have people who are experts, even if you take down the targets and you don't take down the experts, the resumption of the program will be very fast, or the attempts to resume, I think it will be very difficult. Yeah. Bear in mind the economy is not doing well. But if you've seen, we have eliminated 9 nuclear scientists that we know for sure. We have the intelligence that they are a critical element to the creation of this nuclear big program of Iran. Further, I don't think there is anything to equate between what's going on in Iran and the other regimes. And if you look even at what's going on inside Iran these days, it has nothing to do with Israel. Of course, there's a lot of sentiments that are coming from the people of Iran that have been for many years since this regime came to power in '79. They've been repressed, and they are the voices actually that come out right now from their own country. In terms of, again, repeating from our point of view, the regime is not part of the operation. Of course, if something happens with the regime, I think it will, of course, benefit the entire world. We're, again, not talking about a positive regime to any of the countries of the global community, on the safety, on the prosperity of the international community, of the future of the international community. So I would say that eventually the whole operation is targeted very, very smartly on removing threats. I think first, these big countries who have supported Iran in the multilateral arena, bilaterally, through many, many vessels, I think they are not doing good to international community by doing that, because again, they're supporting a very disturbing regime to eventually to also their own safety. I would say again, from our point of view, the targets are the operation is very much targeted. I think if you look at what we want to achieve, the harm would be so, again, to the program itself, to the nuclear program, to the ballistic program. I think to all of us who want to support it, I would say that it will not benefit the international community. Look, I said before, I think the Iranians for over 40 years, almost 45 years, have been suppressed under a very far religious regime that has not given them the freedom or the rights or basic rights. We've seen many incidents, and it was public, of human rights violation by the regime. Unfortunately, was not condemned by the international community, but a lot of cases when the people themselves, and we've seen during these 45 years, many attempts by the people of Iran, had nothing to do with Israel, to try and topple their own regime. I think because of that, a lot of people there, and we hear it, people talk with us, they call us, they feel that they are sometimes themselves, that they are released or relieved by what is going on. But again, I mean, this is their own sentiments of being, under this regime that is opting to promote a nuclear program, to promote supporting proxies, to give billions of dollars to terror entities instead of progressing its own people. There's something so skewed about it, that your own population is going through very bad economic situation, and some go through hunger and days without electricity, and you still go and hunt them down and support terror instead of actually supporting your own people. So I think that's the sentiment that they might be feeling. Again, if you looked at what's going out there right now in Iran, I think there is actually a lot of relief and not radicalization. I would say again about whatever was going on between the U.S. and Iran. Of course, a lot of this conversation that were going on for many months were not taking into account, of course, many things like the ballistic programs that was not part of the negotiations. And they're not part of actually the fact that alongside negotiation, Iran has continued even faster than before in reaching the program. And I think there's a vast understanding to the fact that they were very close to become a nuclear country, which would again destabilize the whole region. And I think there's a lot of understanding even in Iran for that. I think there's no mistake at all when a country realizes that there is a literally imminent threat. It's again, when I say imminent threat, it means that it's a threat that could eventually or harm Israel to the existence point. So there's no, I would say, regret in actually going after something that is immediately and imminently threatens your well-being.
By mistake, I was trying to mean that maybe it would have been better to wait and see what Iran
wait until they enrich the 9 nuclear bombs,
because
to wait
the US
until
is the ally, and the US was in negotiations with Iran.
Yes, of course, we are in touch with the U.S. Government, and we are in touch with them, and of course we're working in accordance to conversations, and we're not alone flyers in the world. And I think that, of course, the decision was not made lightly. It was made in the understanding that there's no time to wait anymore. By the way, Iran has negotiated for how many years? Many years. Yeah. It's part of the NPT, and it is disrespectful of any negotiation. It is disrespectful of any agreements. So I would say that Iran has proven more than one time, and much more than that, that it is not waiting for negotiations to end. From their point of view, strategically, they can carry on negotiations forever, while at the same time breaking every possible international law in the way to create their ambitious targets. Again, first of all, I think that we said it many times. As long as this regime is in power and with overtly, and it's amazing how the international community ignores it for so many years, almost the only country in the world that declares that they want to eliminate another country, one member of the UN, who is sometimes part of Human Rights Council, is threatening to eliminate another country member of the UN from the world, wipe them out. And I think this regime does not want to negotiate. They want to have a nuclear program. They've shown and proven it so many times, to the point that even the Board of Governance of the IAEA declares that indeed they're non-compliant. They do not want to comply. They have an ideological goal to achieve what they want to achieve. Negotiations have so far, and I would say for many, many years, not only that they have not halted it back, they've progressed the program. And again, not only the nuclear, the ballistic. And negotiations sometimes tend to overlook the fact that the capacity of the ballistic missiles can destroy. Look what's happening now in Israel. This is devastating. So I would say this is not a regime that wants to negotiate. This is a regime that wants to achieve their goal. That they're a country that is not, looking for any peaceful solution. If you look, I would say from October 7, and again, the world tends to ignore Iran's support of Hezbollah, Iran's support of the Hamas, of the Houthis, of active terror cells. Only a month ago, the UK managed to topple down an operation that was about to be executed by Iran against the Israeli embassy in London. This is not a peaceful regime that wants to negotiate, and I can reiterate it again. I don't know what will happen in the future. I know for now, the Iranian regime, even now, as we talk these days, does not seek to negotiate. It seeks to continue where, if you look the way they operate, and again, every day, we target only related operations or facilities or people who are related directly to the nuclear program or the ballistic program, and they directly and openly, and they're not shying of saying it. I don't see the international community saying too much about it. They are targeting the most civilized population areas in Israel. So if you look at the last 7 days, which again is devastating, including a cluster bomb that they sent down, I would say they mainly hit people, children, elderly. We had 24 casualties, and that's only because we were prepared with solid shelters. Otherwise, we would have thousands of them. They target Israel with bombs that carry 500 kilograms and more of warheads. This is, I keep saying, if you look here in Rwanda, Gachirir and Etaram, this neighborhood, one of these bombs can dismantle half of a neighborhood. Yeah. This is crazy way to, of course, to react, and of course that also a very, very, including operating the Houthis and other proxies they have. This is a real proof of the intention of this regime. They don't like to retaliate on necessarily targets that are related to the Israeli government or army. They want to hit civilians. This is not a regime that wants to negotiate. Yeah, I started to say before, and to be honest, I'm reading more and more about it, and it's quite alarming because, if you think about it, the way Iran operates is not only budgeting heavily and preparing their ballistic missiles and nuclear missiles, which is by itself a threat, because Iran is saying openly, is the country that is not even trying to hide. They're saying we want to hit the US, we want to hit Israel, and we want to hit the West, whatever the West is, heavily. Their missiles, 2,000 kilometer warhead missiles, not even talking about the nuclear for a second, they can reach out to Europe, East Europe, not to mention the entire neighborhood. If Iran would have continued with their program, and what they really wanted to do is to hit Israel in the same time in 3 different ways, ballistically, with nuclear, and through infiltration to Israel, and to eliminate it. In their vision, it's not the last step. In their vision, it's maybe the first, but definitely not the last. In addition, I think that if you look again on the aspiration, on the global aspiration, on the damage that a non-nuclear warheads have when a country possesses them, that could be a massive, massive threat to, of course, not only to Israel, to the entire world. And I said it, and I will reiterate. Iran is working in very different ways. Money laundering, also here in the continent, supporting terror cells, also in this continent, supporting and what's called brainwashing through different ways, cyber attacks on the international community. The list is very, very long. The regime, the Iranian regime, is not, of course, is right now targeting Israel, but it's not its only goal in the world. And we, Israel, and the Israeli people carry sometimes the burden and the death toll, not only to save us, but really to save the international community. Oh my God. First, it's something I cannot imagine. I don't think Israel will ever be eliminated, and not because only I'm Israeli, because you can see what happened in Iran. Israel has gained control of the airspace or the air of Iran. You see, I have videos. This is crazy. The capabilities that Israel has proven since the very bad debacle of October 7 can actually prove the world its capabilities. But if you talk about secondary subject, that you need to ask the regime. But again, as I said, they're very open in their targets. They're not hiding it. I think everything that is not Shiite Iranian, everything that is not supportive of the regime, and that could be, I think, the entire, it could be Europe, it could be Africa, it could be, of course, the US. They're saying it out loud. They're threatening, right now, for example, they're threatening to close the straits, Bab el-Mandeb, Hormuz, the straits that will affect the entire, they know it, that they affect Africa economic situation, that affect the goods going to Europe. They threaten to do it. So we're talking about a regime that doesn't care to hit others on the stake of holding, their seats. And first of all, again, at the moment, I would say that we, at the moment, have hit their ability to enrich the nuclear to the level of creating the bomb at the moment. You're very much right, as I said before, that knowledge is the base of everything. Yeah. There are very few people in Iran, in the world, that have the knowledge, of course, of how to create or the whole process, which again, I can see it. I wish I had a chart to show you. It's a very long process. Enrichment and twice, and you have to take it through, as I say, very few stages, including weaponizing, which again, Israel, if you look at what has been done in the last week, we've actually hit almost every part of the stages. So the weaponizing capabilities, the last stage of converting to fissile material, the weaponization, and of course the enrichment facilities. Is it, of course, forever? No. Of course, every country, there's a timeline. I don't know what forever is anymore in these days.
Yeah.
But what we have done is, because of that, worked very hard in taking down exactly these people, or eliminating the people who have the knowledge. So creating again this cadre of knowledge, again, it takes many, many years. We have, again, the intelligence of Israel is not going to go anywhere. I don't know what will happen with Iran in the next 5 years or 3 years. I don't know what will happen with the program. I don't know. We have not finished the operation yet. So we're talking when the operation is still going on. Again, I'm not in the cabinet. I don't know what will be what is the bank of targets of Israel. I do know that we're working in accordance to it. It's not over yet. So I don't know what will be the timeline. I don't know if anyone can talk about this. But what can I say for 100% is that we're doing everything to remove this threat from our throats.
Is it a dream to see the US during the war?
Oh, I have many dreams in my life. It's not my dream, of course. Look, the president himself, I cannot talk on behalf of the president of the US. I don't think anyone can talk on behalf of it. I know that he has many conversations with Israelis, and of course, with leaders of Israel. I know other counterparts in the US, of course, from defense to foreign ministry. There are a lot of discussions going on. There's an open line. There's a huge friendship between Israel and the US. And the US supports in many, many ways that we don't know. Not I, not you. We don't even know what they support. I can say that the collaboration between the countries is very solid. I don't know what will be the decision. I don't know. I don't think this is in my level to decide for the president of the US how to conduct his affairs. But I can say that even now the relations are very strong, and there's a lot of collaborations that's going on. Actually, I should have started with that. It's a very important point, because we have no issues with the Iranian people. Actually, as you said, until 1979, when the Shah regime, before the Ayatollah regime came to power, we had huge, prosperous relations between Iran and Israel. We have many Persian Jews, actually even now in Iran, huge Persian community in Israel. For centuries, we've been collaborating, even in biblical times. I will not go back, but there were a lot of things going on between the Persian Peninsula and the Israelite. Back then, of course, Israel have come back to the forefather land. And it's very important also to say that we're not in Israel just by accident. This is our only land, the only Jewish land. And so I would say in the relationship between the Jewish land that possesses only 0.1% of the Middle East and the big Persian, it's been a very successful country. I really hope and wish in the future I will go back to have people-to-people relations. I see a lot online these days, discussions, that friendship that even when going on under the radar all these years, because not, of course, overtly, but there's a lot of warmth and understanding. The Iranian people are very capable, smart people that deserve better. And I think they're thriving to be, again, successful economy and successful country. The Middle East is very complicated area. To be honest, it's very, very complicated. I know your area is very complicated as well.
Yeah.
Sometimes I wish we had, you can understand us. I think Rwandan can understand Israeli about geopolitical complexity. I would say that if you look from October 7 to today, the relationship with Israel and the Arab Accord, or the Abraham Accord countries we have relations with, it was not affected. I think the relations still go on. Israeli go to visit there, they go to. I can say that a lot of the countries in the Middle East are very much concerned, very much, by Iran. There's a lot of complexities between inside, Islam, between Muslim countries, and I think a lot of them are relieved. They will be relieved to know that Iran does not possess nuclear weapons. I think it will give much more stability. I don't think, I kind of can say no, that it will give much more stability to the entire region if Iran doesn't possess nuclear weapons. I think the fact that we still have continuing the good relations, so we still continue having bilateral relations, the fact that things have not been affected, I think that is a cue by itself, that there is a lot of options. I don't know what will happen after the operation in Iran, but I think a lot of good things and a lot of promising prospect can come out of a future that will be much more quiet to the whole Middle East. There are two elements, there are two questions in this question. Second, I can only reiterate, and it's important to reiterate, what we've been saying decades. We've been saying it for many, many years. Israel will not be the first country to possess nuclear weapons in the Middle East. It's important to say it. And the second part is, what we're doing now in Iran is exactly to eliminate the ballistic capabilities, and which means targeting the infrastructure that enables Iran to actually shoot these missiles to Israel. And if you've seen in the last week, we have managed to harm a lot of the ballistic capabilities. And the goal is actually exactly that, to harm the entire operation that was behind creating the missiles or the ballistic missiles. So it's not to create a ballistic missile that can carry 2,000 warhead, that's 500 kilograms warhead that can reach 2,000 kilometers. It's not something you do in a lab. Yes, you need a whole infrastructure for it. So that's part of the operation in Iran, to make sure that we try and eliminate the risk of ballistic missiles to Israel. First, I think that Rwandan they understand better. The international community in this geopolitical area have been putting a lot of pressure on countries in this area to negotiate things that might risk stability, because you know better what's the threats. We know what's the threats. The international community doesn't know what the threats, and I will say it more. When you sit wherever you sit and you don't feel a literal imminent threat on your lives and your country, on your children, on your parents, you cannot understand it. We know what Iran is capable of. Iran knows what it was capable of. And I think saying that Israel was rushing, when we have intelligence that's saying that they were days away from nuclear bombs, of course, this is not something that is, no one should take it light-headedly, and of course not us. So I would say that any country in the world, and it's very important to say, any country has the right not only right, obligation for self-defending its people. No country should be taken away the first right of protecting its people.